Empower to Integrate, a collaborative initiative by Aditus Foundation and the African Media Association Malta. This program is dedicated to advancing integration and social inclusion for third country nationals in Malta. It is funded by the Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund, co-funded by the European Union and carried out in collaboration with the Parliamentary Secretariat for European Funds.
Welcome to the Empower to Integrate project. This is a platform for third country nationals to boost their visibility, amplify their voices, and share their perspective. It also aims to build social communities within Malta, as well as building on social ties. Hello, I'm Nazli Mayu, and I'm the project lead strategist and radio show host. Today we will be discussing why they spend so much money on weddings. Weddings are a significant life event which shape family dynamics, cultural expectations, and community relationships, especially within multicultural and migrant contexts. This episode will also cover traditions and how they are negotiated, how families navigate cross-cultural celebrations, and the emotional and social impact these events can have across generations. Joining me in the studio is Gaurav Joshi. Hello and welcome.
Absolutely. It's a privilege and honor to be on Empower to Integrate program. Earlier, I have been on another radio show in Malta on 98.3 FM with Carmel Chanter, and this is another one in the series where I'm going to talk about Indian culture. It's an extension to that. So thank you.
Thank you and welcome. Gaurav is a senior consulting professional based in Malta. He is currently working with a leading global firm in IT and a business consulting sector. With over 17 years of experience, he specializes in leading companies and complex bids and shaping large-scale transformation initiatives for international clients. Originally from India, Gaurav brings a deep appreciation of Indian culture and traditions and values, combined with a global outlook developed through his professional journey internationally. He is passionate about sharing insights into India's rich heritage, diversity, and evolving modern identity with international audiences. I'd also like to give a warm welcome to Sarah Young. Hello, Sarah.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Sarah Young is a local and international wedding planner and expert who designs weddings and events. She is also a TEDx talk speaker and the creator of Flip the Venue, a TV series that showcases how they transform venues into luxurious event spaces. Sarah has extensive experience and expertise working within multicultural families and cross-cultural celebrations as a wedding events planner. Her insights into the practical, cultural, and relational aspects of weddings bring a valuable and grounded perspective to the discussion. So, Gaurav, many South Asian weddings are known for their multi-day celebrations. Could you share some of the key pre-wedding ceremonies that help to bring families together?
Absolutely. So, as you rightly pointed out, many Indian weddings, they last so typically from 2 days, 3 days to 7 days, and it sometimes even further. The reason I would say is the connection. It bridges or builds a bond between two different families who come from different culture, different background, different lineage of families, and they get to know each other. So in Indian traditional wedding, typically there are several ceremonies. I can list out, like it starts from Muh Dikhai, where you actually see a bride and groom, they see each other for the first time. Then you have Roka, which is engagement, like a formal engagement where they kind of exchange rings. Then you have Haldi ceremony, where the turmeric powder is applied on both bride and the groom. It signifies purity, and then it is followed by Mehendi, which is a celebration about blessings, where it talks about prosperity and brings in the positive energy. And then there's a final big procession which happens from groom's end to the bride's location where the marriage is being held, where a big procession happens, and then within that procession also in that particular hall there are several ceremonies like hiding of shoes, where a bride and groom they compete with each other and they exchange a lot of pleasantries in exchange to give the shoes. And then there are ring ceremonies and other stuff. So it is all followed by a lot of Vedic hymns, which the cultural practice is involved. So in and all, then it is followed by reception at the end. So overall, it's a very beautiful sequence of events which happens in an Indian wedding, which actually really brings everybody together and connects together. So they come as different families and they become a one family altogether.
Thank you. There's quite a journey in terms of bringing them together before the wedding as well. Thank you for sharing that. Sarah, from your experience as a national and international wedding planner, what do you believe weddings truly reveal about society's values through the lens of family, identity, and belonging?
Well, I think they are the rare moments where private love actually becomes public, because it becomes a public statement, and the real society values come out. So if it's religion, if it's identity, if it's tradition, if it's family involvement, status, belonging, they all start coming out in the preparation of this wedding. You learn very quickly, I find, who is really going to be involved, who's going to be paying for it, what is being prioritized, and most important, the community approval. So who do we have to please? So all these together are meshed up in the values of society.
That's also quite interesting in terms of who you have to please, because there's many players, as you've mentioned.
Sometimes it's not only the couple. I'm sure, from the Indian counterpart, it's very obvious. Sometimes we don't only have the parents, but we have extended family as well. So can you imagine getting approval for something from 10 people, not one? And there is this saying where, 100 people have 100 points of views. So it's not easy.
Absolutely. I can add neighbors to that. They're also part of an extended family.
Could you share with us your own experience? Was this something where a lot of people were involved within your marriage when you're preparing it?
Yeah, absolutely. So my marriage was an arranged marriage where my father friend knew my father and his friend. Since they knew each other, they fixed our marriage together. But I do have beautiful memories in terms of how both the families came together to view me, and then I had to go to the girl's side to view her, and then we had to meet each other's family. Not only her, but each and every family members. We had to do personal interaction with each of them. We get to know each other very well. We do a lot of exchange in terms of what do we like, how do we prefer to stay, what is our choice of food. Food is also an important part in Indian weddings. What kind of food you prefer, whether you're vegetarian, whether you're non-vegetarian, and in certain ceremonies you have specific kind of food which is allowed, and then in reception everything is allowed. So it's a big gathering together, and a lot of people are involved. And as you rightly pointed out, the decision making, lot of people are involved. The elders in the family, they do a lot of decision making, and you have to please a lot of people.
And you have to please a lot of people, so it's not easy. Sometimes the couples, especially the younger couples now, are becoming more cosmopolitan. But especially with the Indian weddings, it goes always back to tradition and the elders, which is very respectful as well, even the way you look after your elders. They stay at home. So you have to learn the culture. Every culture has to be respected in its own way. So mixing them together then becomes fireworks,
And the big part of it is because Indian families are usually joint families. So the parents, the great grandparents, and the cousins, immediate cousins of that particular family, they all stay together. They usually stay very tightly knitted. So impact or decision of one person impacts every other person living. So they all come together as a family. And in India, you're not marrying a bride, you're in fact marrying an entire family.
Yes.
Yeah, that's quite valid. Have you got any experiences where you've had two very different cultures coming together?
Yes, I have. And actually, I would love to share this experience with you, and you would understand me very well, I'm sure. So a couple of years ago, we had an Indian and a Nigerian couple. So the bride was Indian and the groom was Nigerian. So you can imagine these two cultures are very big with their celebrations, many days of celebrations, both of them, and they are very different. So the way the couple managed to put this together, and this was very nice to see, that instead of choosing sides, they came together to create a hybrid Indian-Nigerian wedding, okay? The good thing is, and this was always what impressed me, is that both cultures love color. Thank God for that. So we have the Indians with all their color and the Nigerians who love their color. But remember that the Nigerian culture, for people who are hearing us and don't know, the families tend to pick colors. So if one side of the family picks lilac, all the family dresses in lilac. And if the other side picks yellow, then they'll all be in yellow. So it was very important to coordinate these little details so that the colors were picked and then the Indian side were told so that they're not mixed up with the Nigerian colors. So, you think, what a petty little thing, but actually that was very important culturally and to show respect to both sides. So it ended up being a beautiful outcome. We had Indian traditions included, we had Nigerian traditions included, but it was very much a hybrid.
Absolutely. And maybe I can add to that, the music plays a very important role as well. You have a lot of folk music, the traditional music being played during marriages, and a lot of families, they perform dances as well, cultural dances from groom's side, from bride's side.
The skits.
The skits, yes, not to forget that. I remember I had done a beautiful skit and I had got big appreciation myself. So these are the things you carry for your life. You remember, okay, I performed, and when you're old, when you look back, when you reflect on it, you laugh out.
Yes.
You have something to laugh at.
And in this particular wedding, I remember the Nigerian groom was not impressed that he had to dance, but he did, because it was part of the fun and part of the enthusiasm, So they both gave in a bit, but they didn't choose sides. It was always together, and this is, I think, possible as well when you have less people deciding. So at least it was the couple in this case and the parents. We stopped at 6 people because this was already very complicated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm curious to learn more about the exchanging of the shoes.
They hide them, and then you have to pay money to get them back.
She's absolutely right. So as soon as the groom enters the hall or the marriage where the ceremonies are going to take place, usually the ceremonies happen without shoes because it's a sacred ceremony. So you're supposed to leave your shoes outside something called mandap, where under which all the ceremonies will happen. So once they leave the shoes there, so from girls' side, usually someone tries to hide those shoes, and then they will hide it somewhere, and then after the ceremony is over, the groom comes back and he doesn't find his shoes, and the people from girls' side, they start demanding money. If you want your shoes back, you have to pay us.
Yeah.
And many times
it's a lot of money sometimes.
Lot of money. It's a good way of exchanging, to know people as well. It's fun actually.
Yeah. And there's a rope sometimes as well to be allowed in.
Yes.
After the barat.
Yes.
That's money as well. You need to pay money for the ladies to let you in.
Absolutely. And I've seen some cases where sometimes a bride ties some kind of rope to shoes as well, so that it's not lost. and I've seen sometimes the bride supporting the groom, saying, now he belongs to me, now you cannot do this to him.
Yes,
now you don't have to pay much money. It's all the stories.
Yeah, definitely.
This year I've got an Indian bride marrying a Swedish groom. So I'm looking forward to this a lot because the Swedish element is going to come out in color in the summer nights, and then we have the traditional Indian barat and the Sangeet, so, and then the third day, so one day is going to be all Swedish, one day is going to be all Indian, and the third is going to be just cosmopolitan, so that there is a balance. So I'm really looking forward to this. I find that cross cultures are very nice, and it's very important for everybody to learn the countries and the cultures, traditions, because without them, we don't get anywhere really.
That is true. And for you, in many South Asian cultures, values, we're talking about like respect, dignity, and maintaining social harmony are very important. But how do these values actually help Indian migrants live and build their lives here in Malta?
Especially the values which you mentioned are very critical for us as an Indian community to create the sense of belonging. So these values actually help to integrate ourselves in society. So I'm sure these values are common not only in Indian culture but across the world. So we call it Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So these values reflect in different cultures, not only in India, in Malta as well, elsewhere in Africa and other places as well. So to answer you, precisely, it brings a sense of belonging, where you're respected. Even if you notice, many Indians, when they're traveling in buses, they tend to give seat to the elder people. I've noticed it many times. So it comes from the value, the culture, the upbringing, the respect for the elders. So because you need to have good blessings from your elders. If you have good blessings, your fortunes will be bright. That's what they say in Indian culture. So that's how it flows in everybody culture.
Okay, so it's something that's easily brought into Malta, even if you're living in a different country and culture. It's something that's part of you that you bring with you.
It creates positive vibe. And one more incident I can point out. So sometime back there was this there was a storm, big storm in Malta. So some of the Indian people from Indian community, they went and cleaned the church. They took the initiative of helping, making sure the church premise is clean. So just another example, it comes from the value, to help to create that impact. So outside of India, you're an ambassador of India. So you need to make sure that your values and traditions flow along with you.
Thank you very much. Sarah, you're talking about these two very strong different cultures. And from that, where people have to choose sides, how do couples negotiate which customs they're going to keep, they're going to blend or let go? Have they shared any of this with you?
Yes, but usually it is very much discussed with the family. And when they come to us, they already have a clear picture of how the things are going to progress. From our end, sometimes I feel like we are the piggy in the middle and we are there to help, and to facilitate this, because sometimes the couple are very strong on something that they want to modernize, whilst the culture, be it whatever culture it is, the older people or the parents do not believe in it, or their priorities are different than the young couple. So sometimes food and beverage has a lot to do with this. No, I want extra food. And the young ones don't want to waste. So why should we have waste? And why should we not be more sustainable? Whilst for them, the parents and the grandparents, it is all about the community. It is all about how we are going to be seen, because this is a family reflection. Whilst nowadays, in all cultures we see this, the couples are becoming different. Sustainability, the environment is very important, but that sometimes takes away from traditions. So it is not easy. We are not the ones to take decisions. As a planner, I cannot ever take decisions, but we are there to sort of guide and help. So how can we give you what you want and you what you want, and find sort of an in-between? So sometimes we're negotiating, but, happy negotiating, polite negotiating, Yeah. But it is very important.
Thank you. And from your perspective, how would you say it's would have impacted your life, or even with family members, where you have the traditional culture and then you've got the Western culture, because we're living in a Western society?
Absolutely. The name of the word or the game is adaptability. So how you adapt to Western culture, how you respect the place where you live, is also another very important aspect of any human being, irrespective of which place he stays in. So you got to be Roman when you're in Rome. They say like that. So when you're in Malta, I respect and love Maltese culture as well. I've seen a lot of family bonding here, which is very similar to what I see in India. There's a lot of parents, they get involved in a lot of decision making, very similar to what we see in India. And there's a big family gathering always when you go out. There are a lot of processions which are happening. There are a lot of events which keep happening regularly. You see people sitting and eating and enjoying and having good time with families. So this is something very similar. So we adapt, and whatever good thing we can bring in from India, we get it here. So that's how adopt and flourish together.
That's quite a good way of looking at it in terms of adapting. Would you say, just leading on from that there's anything that you would have to let go? Or is it, how do you still maintain those traditions?
Yeah, sometimes you have to let go of certain things, as you rightly pointed out. Certain traditions or may not be culturally or may not be feasible to the particular land where you are staying. Say for example, some tradition might have to do with the river. Say for example, if there's a ritual where you have to go and get water from that particular river. So if it is not here, then you might have to let go and then find an alternative. So adapt to place where we are, manage and flourish together. But it's all learning. I would say we are all one family. So as a one family, how you adopt to bride's family or groom's family, so we just need to adapt similarly to the place as well.
Thank you very much. So Sarah, many people do invest huge emotional energy and finances into their weddings. What reasons do couples or parents typically give for wanting to have an expensive or elaborate wedding, and are there any sacrifices that they make?
Yes, sometimes they make big sacrifices. In most cultures, hospitality reflects family honor. So this is where you are inviting so many people, and it's going to show your family honor. So this is a big thing. First thing they all say is, we want a beautiful wedding. Everybody wants a beautiful wedding, right?
Yes.
But then it has to be broken down. What does this beautiful wedding mean? Where are we going to go big on things? How much can we afford? I'm always a believer that some families, some parents would have been saving all their lives for this, for their children, but others no. Nowadays, sometimes the couple are paying for the wedding. And I'm always there. Sometimes I feel like I am a parent, I'm going, do not overdo it, because once you become a family, then you've got children, you've got things to pay. So this one day can be beautiful, but it shouldn't be over the top. So emotional and financial investment are very go hand in hand, but I believe that it's important there's a balance. You cannot have the best day by going totally broke and spending the next 10 years paying off that one day when you have hopefully children coming into the world or other things you need to do at home.
Yeah. There is a term where they talk about a bride being a bridezilla. So when somebody says that they do want to spend more money and you wanting to give them advice as to let's tailor it back because tomorrow is another day. Have you ever come across any brides in particular who want it their day?
I will go a step further. We even have groomzillas. So we could have a bridezilla or a groomzilla. So grooms are becoming very, very involved in planning. This is the new thing in the past 8 to 10 years. So yes, it's not easy with a bridezilla or a groomzilla, I must admit. But I think after 25 years of doing this, having my company and doing this job, we have a way of going about it that can be peaceful, and nice. And if at the end of the day, if a bridezilla really wants something or a groom, sometimes you cannot fight too much, and you have to let them be. As long as they're aware of what they're going to do and what implications this is going to have, then we are covered. But yes, they exist from both male or female.
That's quite interesting. And Gaurav, after the wedding, when guests have gone home, the music fades. What do you believe is the one thing every couple and family should hold on to and hope for, especially when you're living in a multicultural society?
I would say love and respect. So it's simple. So when everything is said, when the marriage is done, so even after marriage there are quite a few ceremonies. When the bride actually goes to the groom's house for the first time, so there will be a lot of ceremonies. And to answer exactly to what you asked, so it's love and respect. What they carry, the tradition, what they carry, what the girl carries to the groom's family. So the tradition will continue. There will be a lot of bonding between both the families. So if there is any need or issue which arises in anybody's family, either groom side or bride side, everybody will come together as one single family. So everybody will put up their hand, okay, he's one of our family members and we should do whatever we can within our realm. So it's love and respect.
Would you also say communication is important?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of times communication is absolutely very important, especially in your role. I would assume, because everybody comes from different background, right? Especially in a state like India, which has 26 states of its own within the country of India, and each state has different language, different culture, different tradition. Imagine a wedding happening between people from two different states. So they have one state has their own tradition, other state have their own tradition. So it's a mix and match how you communicate. And most of the times, brides and grooms are actually leading the communication in telling them, okay, these are the traditions from our side which we need to follow, and they convince their elders. And similarly, the bride does it at their end. So
sometimes even in herbs, your herbs are different according to states. So can you imagine cooking Indian food? For us, it's let's eat Indian food. You know, it's not that simple.
It's not at all.
You know, can you imagine the communication needed there?
Definitely.
But I think that you need to, hopefully a wedding strengthens the relationships, not divides them.
Yes.
It's not always achievable. Let's be frank. It is not always. I see it, you know, sometimes it doesn't happen, and sometimes family members don't turn up, you know, so that is sad, you know, but sometimes it has to happen for peace to be there.
For sure. Thank you very much to Sarah and Gaurav for joining us today and sharing your experiences, which are so rich and diverse as well. So thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for having me too. It was very pleasurable, and I hope the audience enjoyed it.
Yes. And thank you for tuning in, and goodbye.
Empower to Integrate, a collaborative initiative by Aditus Foundation and the African Media Association Malta. This program is dedicated to advancing integration and social inclusion for third country nationals in Malta. It is funded by the Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund, co-funded by the European Union and carried out in collaboration with the Parliamentary Secretariat for European Funds.